quick video today about how to use grips, where to get them, should you get them, all that kind of stuff. So the answer is, should you have grips? The answer for most people, 99% of people, is yes. Grips are a really great extra line of protection to provide for your hands so that you give yourself a little bit of extra room for error and give yourself a little bit extra protection for your hands so you don't tear them quite as often, okay? So how do we use grips? So first of all, these grips, they're made by a lot of different people. These are made by a company called Bear Komplex. I've had a bunch of different pairs of Bear Komplex grips over the years. I like them, but there are other companies out there. So the way I use Bear Komplex grips is, when I put them on, I'm gonna put them on buckle side on my pinky. Buckle goes on the pinky side. So I'm gonna put them on, and first thing to be aware of is I don't wanna buckle them down real hard. They need to be able to move around on my wrist so they can flip around like this and then travel up and down, okay? So the reason I want them to be able to do like that is twofold. First of all, in a workout like Fran, where I've got a barbell movement and then a rig movement, it makes it easy to transition between the two. So I can do my rig movement and then just real quickly flip the grips around, get them out of the way for my barbell movement, and then vice versa. The other reason I want them to be able to move up and down is so when I get on the rig, if I choose to use the finger holes, I'm gonna want that extra ability for it to move so I can create the slack I'm gonna need to use them properly. So what I mean is, I'm gonna put them on, and so the last thing I do is, if I'm gonna use my finger holes, I'll put them on, and then I'll use my thumb to grab a little hunk of leather that creates a fold just under my fingers, at the base of my fingers, so that fold, when I go up on the rig, is gonna be protecting my hands, okay? So there's my fingers, then that kind of double layer of leather that the grip creates, and then my hands, okay? And so it's important that I don't strap these down too much, because if they were too tight, they wouldn't be able to move up and down. The strap is really just to keep them from flying off your hands. All right, so, excuse me. So you can use the holes. And until really recently, everybody used the holes. Now there has kind of been a second way to use these that has become popular, and I've gone to this way myself, is so I can use these. They actually sell grips now with holes and without them. So now what you can do is, you can just go, a way people started using these is just to go straight to the bar. So instead of putting the grips over your fingers and then grabbing that little extra hunk of leather like I showed you, instead what I would do is just flip my grips around and throw them directly over the bar. So in this position, it's the bar, then that piece of leather of my grip, and then my hand on top of the bar, okay? So I think that's a little bit quicker. There might be a little bit less protection because I don't have that double layer of leather created by that fold over maneuver that I do with my thumb. But I've been doing this a lot lately, and I think that's the way to go. If I was gonna buy a new pair of grips tomorrow, I'd probably get the ones without the holes. But if you wanna have the ability to go back and forth, holes or no holes, go ahead and get the ones with the holes because it doesn't really matter. You can use them, these kind, either way. Sizing wise, so I wear a size large. You'd rather be a little too big than a little too small. So if you think you're on the bubble, small or medium, get medium. If you think you're on the bubble, medium or large, get large. But I do think pretty much everybody could do with a good pair of grips. And my best advice that I can give you is, these are gonna cost you 50 bucks, which I know seems like a lot, but number one, if you take care of them, they will last for a long time. I've had these for a while. Number two, skip the step where you try to buy the cheap version, because at some point you're gonna end up wanting to get the legit ones anyway. These are better. You're better off spending a little bit more money and get real ones than trying to save a little bit of money, even though that's certainly logical, but you're gonna want in the longer run to have the better versions. So these again are Bear Komplex. These are great ones. These are the diamond grips, I think, but there are a few options. There's another company called Victory Grips that make good ones, but a good pair of gymnastics grips will really help you, will make it more comfortable on the rig, and will save your hands in the long run.